What's happening, people? It's Ramone here with your update on the ongoings at Arsenal Football Club. So I will start with the sort of biggest story, and that's going to have to be interest in Kieran Tierney. Now, there's a lot of talks about Tierney. Tierney's a Scottish left back, if you didn't know, plays for Celtic in the Scottish Premier League. And he's a young guy, and he's a young left back who has apparently, from what we're hearing, he's got bags of potential. Of course, we've seen the rise of Andy Robertson at Liverpool in the past couple of seasons, and this is another one touted for to be up there with one of the best left backs in the country, especially as left backs ain't easiest to come by these days. There's quite a lack of them coming through the ranks, and so we've had to go to Scotland and look at this young prospect. And Neil Lennon did say that there'll be a lot of interest in him this summer. So expect a few bids to come in, and apparently we've already tabled a £15 million bid. And of course, with Arsenal's transfer budget sitting at £40 million, that is around the bid you probably expect Arsenal to be making for him. Apparently it's been rejected so far from Celtic. They've not accepted a £15 million bid, but talks are still ongoing. I don't know much about him, I'll be honest. I've not seen him play that much. I've seen a couple of games from Celtic, but I've not seen him play on a regular basis. But I've seen his stats. I've seen him on Football Manager. Played with him a few times. He's from what we're hearing, he's a good player, and he's a young left back, and it's a position that we need definitely. Monreal getting on now. Kolasinac. With Kolasinac, we bought him a few years ago. He looked like a good player. He looked like someone that could push us on. It looked like at the time we were playing five at the back, and he was much more of a wing back than a left back. And it seems so that he's a lot more of a wing back than a left back. And I'd go as far as to say I don't even know if he is a left back because of how bad he is defensively when we play four at the back. Now, yeah, there's the odd game you might say he did well here, he did well there, but overall, for me, he cannot play for Arsenal if you're playing four at the back. He can only play as a wing back, and that may suit maybe what Emery wants to do going forward. But for me, the players that we got, I feel like potentially four at the back may be the best way to go. And so having someone like Tierney, who is used to playing four at the back, and is quite a competent player there, it's a great signing for me. It's a great signing, and it means that we can move on Monreal for me, because he's getting on, and I don't see, we shouldn't still be having players like him at the club if we're trying to push on. So yeah, I think the signing of Tierney could be good for Arsenal. Could push Arsenal on to the next level. There's obviously a lot more needs to come. It's got to be a group of signings. But starting a bit at 15 million shows that we don't want to spend that much money. People are talking about, it could be getting up to £25 million. And in this day and age, that's about right. You've got other clubs bidding £50 million for right backs. So 25 million, not too bad if we're able to get him for that money. So we'll see what happens with that. You've got to keep an eye on it. Talks are definitely still ongoing. But yeah, I'll definitely take him at the club with definitely a potential to see him grow at Arsenal. Another one is Carrasco. People are talking about Carrasco. He's had the issues and not being chosen to play for his club because he talks he wants to come back to Europe, and it's kind of been ongoing. There was definitely interest from Arsenal last January when we bought in Denis Suarez on loan when we were looking for a winger. Didn't obviously get anywhere with Carrasco, but talks was definitely still there, and we believe the talks are still ongoing. And again, it's a position that I'd like to see us go in for, man. We need a winger. For me, we barely got any wingers at the club, if any. Like Iwobi's probably our only winger. Mkhitaryan is probably better in number 10. I know Aubameyang can play wide, but he's obviously better as a striker. For me, Iwobi is literally our only winger, and even then, he kind of came through as playing a bit of number 10 for the under-21. So it's desperate for us to have a team to change things up. It's okay being able to play five at the back and going two up top. But in games like last season against Leicester, where you want to just change things up, you can't, because there's literally no one to bring on to change the game like that. So I'd say Carrasco type player will be excellent. So hopefully we'll see him come to the club soon as well. But of course we've got to maintain our budget at £40 million. However, the budget is slightly risen apparently, because we've just sold David Ospina off to Napoli for £4 million. So our transfer budget is now risen apparently to £44 million. I like Ospina. I thought he was a good player. Just wasn't good enough to take the reins at number one for Arsenal. I kind of hoped he would, especially when Szczesny left. I kind of hoped he'd kind of step up. But then we obviously bought in Czech for the experience, and then he couldn't get game time. Then he had to go on loan to Napoli. And I believe there was an agreement that he had to play 25 games so that they were obligated to play £4 million. He ended up playing 24 games for Napoli, but Arsenal still managed to get £4 million off Napoli. And I think it's one of them ones, he was never going to make it at number one, especially now that he brought Leno in as well. So it was best that he just has to go. Does that mean Arsenal need to have a goalkeeper now? That's the problem now. Do we need to buy another keeper to keep our squad going, or do we bring in Emi Martinez as a number two? They seem to have a good season on loan at Reading towards the end of the season last year, and he's been okay when he's come in. For me, I don't think he's going to be good enough. I don't think he'll be good enough as a number two, especially when you're playing number twos now in competitions like Europa League, where we need to kind of start getting up in this competition. FA Cup, League Cup, will he be good enough? Will he be good enough, or will he make mistakes at big times? I'm just not so sure on Martinez. Maybe we give him a year to see what he's like, and hopefully if we get into the Champions League next year, we can upgrade him. But yeah, we need to start looking at bringing in better goalkeepers into the club. So that may be another thing. But our budget is 44 million, and then half of that might be going on the left back. So we've got a lot to improve at Arsenal. Our defence is not good. We need to replace Ramsey. There's talks about people replacing potentially Welbeck with another striker now that he's gone. Of course, Czech's gone as well. So and there's obviously a lot of talk about Koscielny as well. But yeah, I just want to end it on the talks about Torreira going to AC Milan. This is an interesting one with Torreira. I like him. He's a very, very good player. One of the best signings we've signed in a long time, especially the first half of last season. Brilliant. Arguably he was in my team of the year at the halfway stage, Christmas time. I definitely put him in, and he kind of just tailed off a bit as the season went on. But let's talk about Gazidis trying to take him to AC Milan, him not being settled here. I wouldn't say sell him if he doesn't want to, at all costs just get rid of him, just get money for him. But at the same time, if the man don't want to be here and he's not going to be playing his best football here, then we might as well sell him. Like, I don't want to sell him. If you're saying to me, Ramone, would you sell Torreira? I'd say no, I wouldn't sell him. But if you're telling me the guy's unhappy, he doesn't want to be here, he misses his family, wants to go back to Italy, and he's not going to be playing his best football here, I just have to say, you know what? If push comes to shove, we might just have to sell him and make some money off him. Actually make money off a player and not just let him rot and sort of let his value go down if he's not playing well. But, I do like Torreira. He's not playing that much at the Copa America, but what I've seen of him, he's done all right in there as well. He's obviously challenging with Bentancur for that place in that side. But yeah, I like him, and I think we should try and keep him. Have a word with him, maybe even bring in an Italian to help him at Arsenal, man, because Gazidis will do at all costs to try and mess things up for us. Of course, former director at Arsenal. But yeah, man, we have to wait and see what happens with Torreira there. Like I said, I like him at the club. And of course, we're still waiting for our director to come in. A lot of talk about Edu, our former midfielder, coming in to be our new director at the club. So we just have to wait on that one, see what happens there. He's working with Brazil in Copa America, so we may have to wait till that finishes before we can confirm him as our director. And yeah, we'll have to go from there. Anyway, thanks for tuning in, guys.